Welcome to the Who is USA podcast, where we talk to people that are helping build the economy. Today, we have a very special young man, Sohum Berdia, and he is a marketing and technology expert. For short, Martech Ops is pretty much the position he holds now, has been doing for quite a while. And I want to get a little bit of a backstory from you, Sohum, about what your life journey has been like, that you're here, States now. But I want to know a little bit about family upbringing and education and the kind of work you're doing now and where you're taking it next. So here is Soham.
Thanks a lot for the introduction, Mike. I work as the marketing and technology operations expert at Moxie Pest Control of Arizona. I was born in a small town in India known as Jabalpur in Madhya Pradesh. My dad was a chartered accountant by profession, but as soon as he got his degree, the IT boom hit, the dot com bubble, as everyone says, the 2001 dot com bubble.
Right.
So he had to relocate to Bangalore and started his job as a software developer without any background in software development. He worked in KPIT Cummins, Accenture for a while, and eventually landed a project in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We then relocated to Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. He worked in IBM for a while, and then he started his own company. And I came in here at the United States on the August of 2021 to complete my bachelor's in computer science at Arizona State University. I graduated this last December of 2024. Since then, I've been working full time with Moxie. Honestly, I've been working with Moxie since 2023.
So it got you through college, but you were on a fast track. You actually finished in what, about 3 years? Is that right?
3.5 years, I actually graduated a little bit early.
That's good.
There is a very special reason behind this. It was the summer of 2024, and I was sitting down with CEO of Moxie, Travis Nichols, and he was like, Soham, you only give us 20 hours a week. I want you here full time as soon as possible. What's the quickest you can make it? I'm ready to overbear all the costs that are needed. And yeah, I was like, I think I can do it if I try hard enough. I took 2 semesters of classes in 1 semester and just finished it off as soon as possible.
Wow. That was a great incentive as well, especially if somebody's stepping up with a little bit of money to help it happen. That's a good thing. And so you're also got some different interests here. So one of them is podcasting, and obviously you're in the tech field. Tell us about how you see AI, what you're thinking of how you might contribute in that area, and how podcasting might interrelate with that.
Oh, 100%. I think AI is not a new word for any of us in this industry, at least in today's day and age. AI has been taking over the world ever since the introduction of ChatGPT, even though surprisingly, the AI term was first coined in 1954. So it has been around for a while, but ever since ChatGPT came into picture, everyone just started getting into AI. It has become such an integral part that if you're not in the AI train, you're left at the station. When we think about AI and bringing AI into businesses, it is easier said than done. Even keeping aside the security issues and how much will AI actually help your business, the first thing that we need to keep in mind is how exactly does AI work and how exactly can AI help any business. There are many parts that come into play on making a comprehensive tech ecosystem, bringing that AI into the company. It starts from having a centralized database system. Unless you have all your data recorded and in one place, AI doesn't have anything to refer to. How are you getting AI that knowledge base to understand your company, to understand how everything in your company works? Take it from a security standpoint. Unless you want your AI to be telling your customers about companies' internal documentations and information, I'm assuming you probably want good cybersecurity infrastructure in place. How are you going to set that up? These are some of the things that one needs to keep in mind when they think about adopting AI or even just becoming more tech aware as a company. For example, one might say Moxie Pest Control, it's not even a tech company. Why are they so bullish on AI and the future of tech that they had to bring me and a whole team of tech experts to set up a whole different department in the company? And that's when you realize that It is not a service industry race anymore. It's the AI race. Everything is the AI race. And when we talk about my podcast, it ties down to the same question on how can businesses who are not tech focused bring AI, bring more comprehensive technology ecosystems, bring better tech into their company, and how can me or anyone else help them do the same?
This is about efficiencies, cost efficiencies for one thing. And what can be done to improve, or have you seen when it comes to the different areas of, say, sales, customer service, scheduling, maybe even HR training, how AI probably has to do that? Because those are some of those normal things, even overhead. If you have an inventory, a lot of companies have been working just in time. And now with the chain of how things are coming in the country, it's iffy at times. So AI could become even more critical of finding the resources needed and getting them at the right time. What do you think about how one business is different from another, but they have things in common?
It's amazing you asked this question, Mike, because this hits so close to heart for me. When I initially joined Moxie, I was the only person in their tech team. So I was in the weeds of everything from sales to HR to technology itself. And when you talk about AI and cost efficiency and how can better tech infrastructure help companies, I think the impact is infinite. We take sales, for example, sales and marketing. Recently, we set up customer flows, lead generation AI, customer flow AI. When you think about getting, it's the system of hook, sync, and line. That's how the industry flourishes. That's how the service industry works. It's about being on your leads inbox, being in your leads' eyes every part of their life. That can start from their home watching TV with family to their email to a message at the correct time. When you think about all these different instances where someone might need you, in a pest control company's example, when does one need pest control? When there are pests. How do you know that someone is pests? That is where AI comes in. Because when you have enough data, it is surprisingly easy to know when they are seeing pests. A very simple example is if someone has bought a pest spray from Walmart, you know they're probably seeing a pest at their home, right? Conventional lead generation platforms never looked at their Walmart receipts. But now that we have AI tech infrastructure and data all over the place, you can go into such granular details of one's life and get so much data to know what he needs at what point of time, which a lot of companies are really good at. Take example Google.
Yeah, that's so true. There's always privacy issues that people have. And other things is some people see that a pair of boots that I looked at once are still following me 6 months later. There is some truth to the fact that it takes maybe 11 times of touching someone, keeping your name out there before they actually have a need or recognize or have a friend that needs what you do. And how do you keep your name in front? How do you keep it efficient as well? You can no longer just throw spaghetti against the wall. We're talking about doing something that's finely tuned, and that means the leads have a much higher value. That leads to lower costs when it comes to sales. So it all comes together as I see what you're talking about.
So, your topic on privacy concerns and stuff. Obviously, Moxie themselves don't collect any data. The data that is being collected at the end of the day is by these big conglomerates like
Oh,
Google
yes,
and
sir.
stuff. And we are just using that data. I completely agree with your concern that privacy is a very big issue. But this is the world we are living in. Everyone
Yeah,
has an Apple Watch, everyone has their phone with Siri or Google Assistant always listening to you. We can say, the golden words right now and your phone will wake up. The privacy is a very big concern, but at the same time, it is what it is.
it does a lot of good too. Not saying it's all bad because you find out about things that much faster because you happen to have an interest in country music and you never knew about the concerts coming in 6 weeks, but you've got a special email invite somehow. I think what people are concerned about is the fake stuff that can be done, people acting like they're somebody when they're not. And we've always lived with that. Will AI, in your opinion, be able to solve a lot of that? Will they be able to actually make it more secure? I think some of the quantum computing and stuff like that will really help encryption.
So surprisingly, I think AI will actually make us much more secure. And I will talk from two perspectives. One will be a general perspective, and then another one will be a specific, let's say, Moxie. When we talk about general perspective, most phishing scams on all these different kinds of scams happen. It
Yeah,
happens when you click a wrong link, right? When you use ChatGPT, you are not clicking any links. You see how you have just removed the whole question mark aspect of maybe going through Google search or clicking unfriendly website link. Now you're just getting the information from ChatGPT, which is secure. When you minimize the links you go to, you minimize your exposure to different websites. That's when you get more secure in a way.
get
Same
that.
time you about quantum computing and stuff. As technology gets better, it's both a fortunate and unfortunate thing. As the technology becomes more in the hands of these big companies, like a normal person to a quantum computer, in a way we might not be able to do what those big companies are doing. Normal hackers also cannot hack those encryption algorithms or security those guys have in place. So yeah, there might be some security issues that we are talking about recently, especially with the VO3 model that Google released about deepfake videos. I still think that people are going to be more aware than ever before, and that's going to help a lot as well in terms of what they're going to trust or not. The alert radar is going to be at the very top. And once again, just ask ChatGPT, and I think you should get your answer.
That's a different perspective to look at it. The benefit of everything has been researched and you can look up the resources. That makes a big difference. I already see the difference personally with the perplexity versus using Google search. I'm tired of all the sponsored ads that run the whole page down before I find something I'm looking for. Sometimes you have to dig too much, whereas you get on perplexity and they even have deep research now, I understand. You can go as far as you like and get the answers and in depth answers if you want. Yeah, I see the benefit of that for sure. That's going to help the overall security issue to a point. Where do you see your path going next in the work that you're doing now, the MarTech? Because that's marketing and technology blended together. Is that something you want to stay in, or what else do you have in mind that's going to tickle your interest, so to speak, somehow, that you want to do next in the future?
Yeah. So, Mike, ever since I started on this journey, I always loved computers. I was very
Mhm.
good with computers, but the itch for marketing, the itch for communication, the itch for selling was always equal, if not higher, than computer science. As one says, it's not always where your passion lies, is where your skill lies. A lot of child prodigies in instruments oftentimes don't become musicians themselves because maybe they were really good in it. They were born talented in that field, but that does not equate to them liking it. In a similar way, I was really great with computers and logic since a very small age, but I loved marketing and I loved selling. So this is the field which came in recent years. I don't think I heard Martek ever before. Our CEO was like, this will be our designation. This is a very newly coined term, I would say. I'm pretty sure in the last 20 years or something is when it was coined. This
Ah,
seems like the perfect blend to me when you think about someone who knows a lot about computers, someone who knows from the tech side of things, but at the same time can think about the marketing side of things as well. And I think that is the blend because if you know only about marketing, nowadays there are no single jobs. One person is taking care of 10 people's work and the deep knowledge of marketing and also has deep knowledge of the technological side. I think that's the best of both worlds. And eventually, when you think about doing something by yourself or even going in a position where you take all these decisions, I think having this deep knowledge of both fields will be very beneficial for me.
do I jump off the deep end into marketing and technology at the same time? No, you end up using the AI tools that do a lot of the heavy lifting, and it still means that a real person is part of it. What I mean by taking a deep dive, I think it all leads to the one human thing that we all have in common, and that is storytelling. It's been the central part of everything. Marketing and technology, it's still how you're delivering the story. It's still about the story that you're telling. And
100%.
when it looks at to making the world go round, you really cannot turn a dollar yourself without helping others. And that means that we're going to be okay. All these jobs they say are going to disappear just means there's going to be different formations of ownership. It may go to the fact that the public starts to get into stocks instead of the top 5 or 10% of people that are wealthy. One of the reasons is because of stock ownership. They own assets versus the majority of people are spending money and ending up with debt.
Yep.
So what's got to happen in the future is that's got to flip a little bit of investing where each person has some type of investment. Look at the simple one with Tesla when they do these Tesla taxis. Go out there and buy 3 Tesla taxis
Just
and
make
you have
money.
them running out there
Mm.
so that you're doing something else and now you have more than one source of income. It's really about investing in assets in the future. And I think assets doesn't mean something physical all the time. Assets is the technology asset that you have. And with the tools that are out there, you play with Replit and all of those tools of building apps and what those apps can do and how it makes life easier or whatever problem you come across. More and more people are going to figure that one out. The universal income idea that's being floated, not going to be the sort of thing where people just play video games and have a check come in and now go buy pizza. It isn't going to be that simple. You're going to have to play the game somehow. I think building equity for the future, boy, we need it more than now. Think of your children and your future children, how you need to build the legacy and the condition of how the economics have been. AI could really change the game to abundance. And I think that's the ultimate goal is how do we divvy this up in a way that's there's abundance instead of 1% of the people have everything and the 99% are slaves. That has been the world story in history, but we have a chance here to really break out. That's my big think today.
You hit a lot of nail in the heads in the amazing short convo you gave. I think there's a future of everyone having their custom applications built by them
Yep.
and then sharing it in a workspace and everyone just collaborating together. You don't need those big companies anymore. There's obviously a future of more autonomous income, having the income spread out amongst everyone. I think that's definitely possible. As you can see, there have been so many people who have been earning more money in this AI boom. You see how that income is being distributed more equally when you talk about everyone else. Yeah, I think a lot of stuff that you said is generally what's going to happen. The shape that future is going to take is AI is going to be there in everything, and it's not going to take any jobs. Our CEO this morning in a training told something very amazing. He told that AI is not going to take any jobs. It's just going to create different jobs.
That's the same thing that happened in the automobile industry where the buggy whip salesmen have to learn how to be a car salesman. It's almost
Exactly.
that kind of thing. There's something going on that I've seen, and I think it's part of the solution, and that's decentralization. Because we're starting to see decentralized energy, for example. Instead of having just the big utility company, homes and neighborhoods are going to get to the point where they can pull their own assets together to create their own energy. And that will be great for security and stability in the long run. But there's other things too lead to decentralization. The whole thing about having your own apps that you were just mentioning made me think about that. And decentralization with assets means people have skin in the game, so to speak.
Mhm.
So now they have a reason to make an effort out there because work is a good thing, but it's the type of work that's changing from what you're sharing with me here. And that's been so true over and over again. But I don't think people have realized, myself included, how fast it's moving. The adoption of AI is faster than anything that came before.
Yeah. I think the closest event in human history that we can even relate this to is the Industrial Revolution. And it has been, Industrial Revolution is still written in textbooks to this day. So we know how big of an impact that was. I
Oh,
don't think any of us can brush AI off right now. I know initially, I remember when just ChatGPT was released, a lot of people did brush off AI and they were saying that, okay, it's just a phase. is just another tool. It's going to go away. But AI is not going away. You need to learn AI. You need to adapt with AI. You need to incorporate AI in your everyday activities. Only then, at least in today's world, can you go ahead or be ahead from someone who doesn't know about AI.
It's fun and exciting to watch the industry go because one week Google is on top, and last week it was Claude, and the week before that it was Deep Research. It just keeps going on. That it's a race going on out there, and it's fun to watch. All of a sudden, you see these things you can do. I can take a picture and erase the telephone pole that's in the middle. I can change the lighting in just a heartbeat. Old technology, which I look at Adobe, is now getting to look old, and they're doing everything they can to get into AI. They're trying to move as fast as they can because otherwise they're sitting on a dinosaur. It's a race to stay in the game for
Yep.
sure.
I think AI is still in its infancy. The human grows the most in its first 10, 15 years.
Mm,
And then the growth is more gradual and slow. It's the same with AI. Right now, it's in that 10, 15 years phase. And eventually, it will settle down in a way where we have AI enough mature to do almost everything that we expect of it. So, having AI in hardware is a very big next step. I remember reading this article yesterday or day before yesterday about how OpenAI bought the company by John Ives, which was hardware AI design, and they're going to release something like a human AI pin or something. So bringing AI into hardware is the next big step. Meanwhile, all these LLMs will keep progressing. And I'm assuming 10 years down the line, we'll be in this point of maturity where we will have AI robots in everyone's home who can at least do all the mundane chores, stuff like cooking your food, doing your laundry, and just take care of everything. So humans can and hopefully will focus on bigger things. Like, how many people even know how to code in like quantum computing today? Why is that? Just because we are wasting our time folding clothes. I'm just saying that maybe we can then move on to focus on much bigger problems.
it's a good point, though. Are we working on what's really focused on what's important in your life? Generally speaking, no matter what you're doing, it's so easy to get sidetracked with so much going on around us. The media is just insane when you get tied up into that. You look at the short form media that will keep you glued to your seat and end up draining you of all your dopamine. It's almost like being in front of a slot machine. They
Yeah.
figured that one out, how to keep people for hours, just pulling the lever and putting the money into the slot machine. So are we going to grow? Yes. Is education going to get incredibly better? Absolutely. What Google has done with Notebook LM, for instance, you can use
Yeah.
that and have it teach you things. Google's stream inside of AI Studio. But look up a program you're trying to learn, get it on stream through AI Studio for free, and it will talk to you and you can ask questions. It'll look at your screen. You can say what your problem is. I don't know how to do this or that. And it's going to show you how to do it. Learning is going to be faster and better. And I think that's a big change that we need because we're still using the old 1930s schoolroom that's a conveyor belt. Everybody's a third grader, regardless of their talents. That is a mistake. Something we should have outgrown years ago. Some countries are moving faster than others in that area just because they realize they want to put the right incentives to the people that are willing to make the effort. So there's a reward. I think the risk is lower than AI as far as being dangerous. I think it's much lower than all the fear mongers that are out there. So I'm not too concerned about that.
We are not
I
having
think
the
that's the thing.
Terminator anytime soon.
No, not anytime soon. What a way to put it. I want to thank you for the time. I look forward to when you launch your podcast, and I'll certainly want to announce it and maybe bring you on again or your show and maybe bring another guest or two in and we talk about AI in the future and Mark Tech, what you've been doing now and how you've helped move the Moxie company, how they've grown because of the efficiencies that come through AI and from putting systems in and taking you out of the 20th century and into the
Now,
21st.
there's so much more to talk about always from what you
Yeah.
talked about the LMS, the education front. When you think about Google VO3 and the new Gemini 2.5 and how it can give you answers and question you on the quiz formats and stuff. There's so much interesting stuff, and we can go on this for days. But thanks a lot for having me, Mike. You will be the first one, and your viewers will be the first to know about my new podcast whenever I plan to launch it. Hopefully, everyone looks forward to it.
We'll have fun with this. We'll definitely have fun watching how the future is just growing like crazy. Problems are going to get solved. We have some businessmen that are now actual politicians. The business people have finally taken over from the typical politician and the games that they've been playing for so many years. Things are not going to work like they used to. They're going to work better. It's going to be more efficient. There's going to be more responsibility and accountability. I think we as a nation here in the States have had to make this change for some time. And things are moving in the right direction. Can't agree with everything, but when you look at the overall future, yes, it's bright. It absolutely is. I want to congratulate you getting out of the college situation, actually getting help from the company that hired you and had to turn you from a 20-hour a week student to a 40-hour team player. You're putting your time in there and helping them grow, and that'll be great on your resume with everything else you've been able to accomplish. And there's a lot there for sure. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Mike, for having me in your podcast once again.